This is Adela coming to you with episode number 2. I remember when I got a really big aha moment about life and how life works. I recall as a child, I was always interested in knowing all about God and why God did what God did. And I remember going to church so sincerely as a young adult, teenager to young adulthood, and I had a hard time connecting. And at the same time, the preacher said that if you're not good and pure and all of these things, that you would not see the pearly gates. In fact, you would be banished with fire and brimstone and fire. And there would be wailing and a gnashing of teeth. So as far as I was concerned, I was doomed. I felt like I was not pure enough. I was not good enough to see the pearly gates, because I knew that at any given time, I would probably tell a lie to save my hide. So I was resigned to the fact that I just did not belong in the church. To me, the requirements were so high. And even though they say Jesus died for our sins, it seemed like everyone else was passing judgment. They were not waiting for Jesus to judge me or anyone else for their sins. So fast forward many years later, and I met the man who was to become my first healing teacher. His name is Dr. and Master Ji Gang Shaw. And Master Shaw was speaking at Hillside Church and Truth Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, where the Reverend Dr. Barbara King is the pastor of that church. And Dr. King is a very, very tall black woman, and Master Shaw is a Chinese master and teacher. So he said something that really, really answered a question that I had many, many years ago. And that question was, well, how do we become pure enough to come into oneness with God? Well, Master Shaw said that our journey on this earth is a soul journey. And the journey is to raise our soul to a higher and higher level, and eventually we come into oneness with God, the divine, Allah, Jesus, whoever, whatever name you call God, he, she, it, the universe, no judgment there. So he said that we're on a soul journey. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And he said, our job is to lift our soul standing. And so I was very intrigued, because he said, our job is to lift our soul standing. And I was like, you mean I can live my soul journey? I'm not just doomed to either being a sinner or a saint, that there is some in between where I can make a difference in my life. I was really, really fascinated. And another thing he said that really, really caught my attention, he said, not only are you on this soul journey that you're on is your responsibility, not the responsibility of your spouse, your mother, father, children, siblings, no one else's responsibility but your own. Your soul journey is your responsibility. So you could either stay where you are You could go down in your soul standing, or you can go up. The choice is yours. And he talked about the things that you can do to uplift your soul journey. He talked about serving humanity unconditionally. And our families are a part of humanity. Our community is a part of humanity. Our state is a part of humanity. So if we serve and serve with a sincere heart, we can lift our soul journey. And we can lift our soul journey by serving in ways that are so mundane, like giving a smile to someone, uplifting someone's day with an encouraging word, assisting someone. Feeding the hungry is one way of serving. Also, chanting and praying for humanity is another way of serving. So I was so intrigued by this level of dialogue, by this level of thinking. I was just totally fascinated, because that gave me so much relief. Because when I left the church so many years ago, because I felt like I couldn't be pure enough, it was doom and gloom. Either I was perfect or I was not perfect. So since I knew I was not perfect, I wasn't willing to stay there in the church and pretend to be in perfection. So I left the church, and I never looked back. Never regretted that. So I had a higher calling for a deeper understanding. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the church, and maybe someone got the deeper understanding right there where they were, but that was not my journey. You understand? So when I met this man, and he shared this wisdom, and he's been sharing wisdom ever since. And in addition to Dr. Master Sha, I have other teachers. I have other wisdom and healing teachers. In fact, I continue to learn. I continue to grow, because that's my passion. My passion is to be able to help others to live healthier and happier, and for myself to live healthier and happier. And so that's what I want to share today. Just reflect on it if you choose to, and see how this resonates with you. So thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful. Bye for now.